Live tonight, it is the Fuel Jetstream Media IndyCar Series here for their second to last race of the season. This is the Grand Prix at Sonoma here on the Racing Line at Broadcasting Network. And your starting grid, we're going to go a little bit, rolling start here for this week, but we are going to be having a couple technical issues because I forgot one thing, and that is trading paints. So correct paint schemes will be showing up here in just a few moments, working with a little bit of a newer setup. So I actually have space here on my computer, triple screen setup. So this is going to be very, very interesting. Unfortunately, hit the incorrect button on the grid, but either way, we will have your front two starters right here directly in front of you. And that first one is going to be Mitchell Welker in the number 1. And just double checking here. Okay, yep, just wanted to make sure. Mitchell Welker starts off in the first place position with Zachary Buchanan on his outside starting in second place. So that's going to be interesting. Your third place starter will be the 15 of Chad Frankenfield. That is actually incorrect. It will be the 06 of Byron Daly starting off in third place. It's going to be interesting because he and Mitchell Welker are separated by 5 points coming into this race. And the person that is leading that charge in the points by only 5 points is Byron Daly. So it's Byron Daly and Mitchell Welker, the only 2 drivers that are basically with a shot to win the championship. Chad Frankenfield is 57 points behind Byron Daly, your points leader. So going off with the rest of your starting grid, it is Marshall Stanley starting off in the 4th place position. Actually, he'll be starting from pit road, it seems, unfortunately. Starting off in 5th place, at least by the timing charts, it will be Danny Roberts in the 41 and Cohen Evans in the 17, starting off in 6th place. 7th place will be Chad Frankenfield. 8th place, Matt Hollabaugh. 9th place will be Jack Endrick in the number 9, appropriately enough. 10th place is Michael P. Hurley in the 56. John Wilco starts off in 11th, Evan Adams starts 12th, and rounding out your 13-car field here for the night is Will Roberts. So at the moment we are just waiting for the pace car to make its round here around Sonoma, but we'll take an onboard look. More of an onboard listen in this case, to see what it's going to be like to go around this racetrack here for this configuration. 50 laps are on tap here for tonight. Go ahead and make your predictions on who really is actually going to be excuse me, make your predictions on who's going to win. It's either going to be, or at least be, here's a little better thing. Make a prediction on who you think will be in the points lead by the end of the night, either Mitchell Welker or Byron Daly. Hello, Andrew Wood from the paddock, at least from what he's saying. Haven't seen you in a while, Andrew, but it's good to know that you are doing good. And of course, Eric Gonzalez being, as he quotes, highly unbiased, he's saying that Mitchell Welker better not win. That's what Eric Gonzalez is saying. Hi, Eric. It's great to see you again as well. So I'll click on this setting, and that way I can actually do everything else at the same time. So pace car is about to pull into pit road. It's the Grand Prix at Sonoma, being led by Mitchell Welker on the left-hand side, Zach Buchanan, teammate, on the right-hand side. And it looks like Mitchell Welker may be going green already. And the green flag is out. We are underway at Sonoma for 50 laps. So already Byron Daly up to second place the moment they get through and sort it out. And it's a few double file battles here. 2 wide battles between Matt Hollabaugh and I believe Jack Endrick, as well as Chad Frankenfield at 6th, 7th, and 8th. at the moment. We'll actually keep a look back on this as they head down into the carousel section of this racetrack. So Byron Daly actually under fire, never mind, from Zach Buchanan. At least he was for the time being. Zachary Buchanan just all over that back bumper, trying to get to Byron Daly and back alongside so we can get back up to second place from where he started. But at the moment, does not look to be the case. Evan Adams, a little bit of a late start, same with Marshall Stanley. John Wilco very far back. Not sure if something had happened to some of these drivers off the racetrack there for a second. Was Cohen Evans. Can he get that gathered back up in time? He does. And we'll see if we can find anything here for a replay. Yeah, Danny Roberts is off the track twice apparently. Same with Cohen Evans recently that we just caught the tail end of. So we'll see if we can actually get Danny Roberts going off the racetrack here in a few moments as we go around the replay section. I'm not seeing anything too major actually, although there was a wreck in the back, or at least a spin from Evan Adams. So we'll show that replay to you right now. Just locks up the tires and then spins pretty much sideways. That's Will Roberts getting by. Marshall Stanley as well trying to go by. And apparently Zachary Buchanan is out of the race already early on. Not sure what exactly had happened, but apparently there's multiple drivers going off the racetrack, so we'll go back live. And unfortunately, we're going to be going on a little bit of a replay spree here for the time being. So we'll get the replay back up, but it's still Danny Roberts, or sorry, it's still Mitchell Walker, Byron Daly, and Danny Roberts, your top three. And Zachary Buchanan, unfortunately, well, he did say that he didn't like road courses, and this is one of those reasons why. This happened a few moments ago. Got loose off the corner, tried to save it. Oh, hard shot into the inside wall. And then John Wilco is also off the racetrack in the back. Same with Michael P. Hurley, unfortunately. So a lot happening on these first few laps, I should say. So apologies for the first 2 laps, or 2.5 laps in this case, being mostly replays. But we should have everything sorted out, and now it's going to be a battle between Byron Daly and Mitchell Welker. And Michael P. Hurley, unfortunately, a little bit loose as well, maybe coming off of turn number 2. John Wilco just now bringing up the tail end of the field. So it's Mitchell Walker in first, Byron Daly over there in second place. Not sure what is with the very bright sunlight. But Byron Daly seems to be closing the gap. His lap, actually we'll hold off on the lap times here for a few moments. As soon as they cross the start-finish line, then we'll give you the lap times. Across the line, it is a 14.983. Sorry, a minute 14.983 for Mitchell Walker. Byron Daly, a minute 15.003. So virtually identical lap times, and Byron Daly is a driver that's looking to capitalize. He has a slipstream as he's directly behind Mitchell Walker. Well, sort of, as Walker has a very great exit there through the carousel entry. Danny Roberts just bringing up the tail end of the third place position as well. Light speed indeed from Mitchell Walker as the gap has opened up between himself and Byron Daly. So Daly may have backed off just a little bit, or he may have been bettered by Mitchell Walker, at least for the time being. I say for the time being because I more than assume pit stops will be a thing for this race. So it is still Mitchell Walker and Byron Daly up front. Third place Danny Roberts, 4th place. There's Cohen Evans rounding out the top 5 for the moment. Chad Frankenfield, Matt Hollabaugh over in 6th. 7th is Will Roberts. 8th, Jack Endrick. He's got Marshall Stanley in 9th, directly behind him. May see a battle for 8th place here in a few moments. Evan Adams is 10th. 11th, Michael P. Hurley. And 12th is John Wilco. So we may have 2 separate battles here for the time being. We're taking a look at the battle for 8th place between Marshall Stanley and Jack Endrick, or at least a brewing battle. And that's going to be the same situation for Mitchell Walker and Byron Daly. Those two are a little bit of a ways apart. Back to the 9 and the 25, they have also spread out just a little bit. Take a lap here, and you can see the advanced frontal oh my goodness, well, there goes a cone. That was John Wilco that they went by, and John Wilco had moved out of the way. I was about to say that on the front, we can actually get a... I don't believe so. Hold on a second. Apologies for this, but I believe we can get our drawing software back up here. Or I should say. But a little bit of a new addition to the IndyCar, so the advanced frontal protection, which is basically a small cone. And it's the equivalent to an antenna on the front of an F1 car, if the antenna on the front of an F1 car was shaped like a cone and directly in front of the driver. You can see just on the rev limiter, very late braking, and that brought Byron Daly right up to the back bumper of Mitchell Walker. Walker had the better run off, though. And that time around, it was still Mitchell Walker with the advantage in terms of lap times, and Byron Daly still all over the back bumper as much as he can be, at the very least. Bottom of the halo. Yeah, that's also something that this could be. Or as they're calling it, advanced frontal protection, or as I'd seen Mitchell Walker call it, small cone. And speaking of Walker, unfortunately, he may be about to get passed by Byron Daly in a few laps. Not a few laps, but in the next few corners, Daly was looking, but that just was not the case, as Walker had taken the defensive line. And at the moment, may all be Welker for the time being. Considering that this is also a road course, you may be taking a break every 10 laps. Maybe. That's more than likely not going to be the case. Look at that. Byron Daly again with the late braking, and it's still... Oh, maybe not. I was about to say it's still proving very useful, but the fact that I got loose out of the hairpin exit, that may have cost him just enough for Walker to relax for the time being. Although, since Walker is running up front and he just had the gap closed a little bit on that corner entry in turn 1 and turn 2, might not be the time to relax for that number 1 machine. This is also the very closest battle on the racetrack as well, by 0.7 seconds. Actually, nope, scratch that. The second closest battle on the racetrack. This is the closest battle between Jack Endrick and Will Roberts by about 0.5 seconds. And look at this. We have Will Roberts in 7th, 8th place, Will Roberts in 6th, 7th place Jack Endrick. We got 8th place Matt Hollabaugh, who's off the racetrack, unfortunately, on that entry, and Marshall Stanley. So that 4-car train has just now turned into a 3-car train. It may spread out from there. So again, make your predictions on who you think will be in the points lead by the end of this. You have Mitchell Walker, who's 5 points behind in the point standings coming into this race, and Byron Daly, who has just been on an absolute tear for this season. And by how much of a tear? Well, we're going to double check that. About 5, 6 races won by Byron Daly, as compared to 5 by Mitchell Walker. And Byron Daly's been gone for about 4 weeks as well, at some point during the season. So Mitchell Walker may be trying to make a statement saying, well, you were gone for 4 weeks, so you know what? The people who are actually here and show up every week and may actually have a chance. Byron Daly is trying to make a point saying, well, I can still win the championship even if I'm gone for roughly 4 weeks. It wasn't exactly 4 weeks, I believe, but that is a rough estimate of how long Daly has been gone. A little bit farther back in the season. So Byron Daly still having a little bit of a late braking onto the corner entry. Trying to figure out whatever the heck is actually going to work for himself. Marshall Stanley and Jack Endrick, a little bit of a ways between each other. I believe John Wilco may have been put 1 lap down. I'm not sure, but there is somebody off the racetrack around there. So it's 12 drivers, unfortunately, for this race, and Zach Buchanan is the only driver that is out. A lot of drivers going off the track as well throughout the past, pretty much ever since the start of this race. We've had multiple drivers going off the track at some point or another. And unfortunately, the driver that went off the track and could not recover was Zachary Buchanan. Let's see if we can actually get a replay of that incident from Zachary Buchanan. Let's see if we can get an onboard replay as well here. As we will make sure that it is actually set correctly for the time being. And we have that set up. So here's the replay that puts Zachary Buchanan out of this race. A hard shot to the inside wall, and that pretty much sent him out for the rest of the race as he decided to retire for the remainder of the race. Completely destroy the front nose of the car, and essentially there was no point in it going back to pit road, as we have now just under 40 laps to go, or at least 40 laps to go this time by. There is Michael P. Hurley just in front of your leader, and just in front of him is Evan Adams. Trying to make a competition between themselves to see who could have the cleanest race, and Michael Hurley taking the very wide line, giving your leaders time and space to go by. I think Hurley may have stalled it. Nope, he was just taking a while to get back going, making sure that he was not in the way. That was Cohen Evans that had gotten by there, as we had gotten a shot at 56. So we'll go through your field here for the time being, as it is currently Mitchell Walker out in first place, and he's been leading all of the laps so far tonight. It's 11 laps led in terms of complete laps. Byron Daly still off in second place with a 5-point lead over Mitchell Walker, who currently leads the race. Daly may have decided to back off here for the time being. Danny Roberts in third. Fourth place going to be Cohen Evans. Fifth place is Chad Frankenfield. Sixth place, Will Roberts, who just goes off the track there for a few moments down that short chute. Marshall Stanley directly behind him in seventh. Jack Endrick is in eighth. Ninth place, Matt Hollabaugh early on into pit road. And Evan Adams runs out your top 10, who's just about to get a lap down. So that will leave Matt Hollabaugh maybe on the lead lap. Maybe leave 8 cars on the lead lap, actually, as Michael P. Hurley, as Michael Hurley is also 1 lap down. John Wilco is still in pit road. He's been in pit road for the past minute and a half. Byron Daly was actually off the racetrack into the tire barriers, and that could spell the end for the championship for Byron Daly, as he had some type of an issue going on into the first few corners. Apologies for that camera angle. We'll see if we can get that back. Oh, that was set for the triple screen monitors. So we'll get a much better onboard shot here. And oh no. And oh no. Oh no, that was definitely bad timing. That wasn't a... Oh man, I don't know what to say about that, really. Couldn't really say anything about Matt Hollabaugh because he held his line. I'll see if we can get another camera angle here. As Byron Daly has officially just decided to go off of the racetrack. But for Matt Hollabaugh, he's merging as much as he can into traffic. So Byron Daly... Man... That is pretty much it. I don't know. Matt Hollabaugh definitely didn't do anything wrong. He was just leaving pit road, so... Not really sure what to say about that, to be quite honest. Well, after that, Byron Daly is now out, so this gives the championship lead, at least at the moment, to Mitchell Walker officially. Both by bonus points and the fact that Byron Daly is unfortunately out of the race. I really have no idea what to say about that for Byron Daly. There's really nothing that Matt Hollabaugh did wrong. It's nothing that Byron Daly did wrong. It was probably just an unexpected merge. Well, aside from that, Mitchell Walker is pretty much home free for this point. His closest driver to him now is 8 seconds back. Just over 8 seconds back, actually, and that is in the form of Danny Roberts. And now your closest battle is between Will Roberts and Marshall Stanley. About 3 seconds between those two for 5th and 6th. Well, we'll go to double wide here for a while, probably at least for a couple laps. But we'll be right back, just so we can recover from what exactly it happened. So we will be right back. This is the Fuel Jetstream Media IndyCar Series with the Grand Prix at Sonoma, with major championship implications for the time being. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. So we are, excuse me. Wow, that was a great start. We are back live here at Sonoma for the Grand Prix at Sonoma here for the Fuel Jetstream Media IndyCar Series. And just perfect timing, actually, as Mitchell Walker is now in pit road. And a few words from Byron Daly, at least off camera, from what we got as Mitchell Walker has to pit road. Colin Evans also follows suit. Words from Byron Daly, quote, "I got caught out by the speed difference, but I saw what you're trying to do. I just didn't want to lose a ton of time doing the smart thing, and, well, that cost me." So, unfortunately, Byron Daly, of course, having the adrenaline and the fun of running up in second place, didn't want to lose any time whatsoever, wanted to stay with Mitchell Walker as much as possible, and unfortunately, as he said, it had cost him that second place and possibly, maybe, let's hope not, the championship, as Marshall Stanley has decided to stay out. Mitchell Walker back out on track, though. Colin Evans still in pit road. There's Mitchell Walker, and there is Marshall Stanley. So Walker doesn't really lose the lead after pit stops here so far. Those were Byron Daly's words to Matt Hollabaugh afterwards. And that looks to be Colin Evans. Actually, no, that is Michael Hurley pulling off to the side, letting Marshall Stanley go on by. So Mitchell Walker continues to lead around Sonoma Raceway, where surprisingly you have to turn right, and it's also located in absolutely the middle of nowhere. I shouldn't be saying anything, so is ISM Raceway, being a local track, as somebody's over on the Access Road. That is John Wilco. Trying to find some way to let the lead lap cars by, and there goes Stanley in the pit road. Officially in the pit entry point, and now he's in pit road. Danny Roberts, third place, going to second here in a few moments. He'll go out to pit road. The only driver to really not pit yet is Jack Anderick. So we might be seeing one more pit stop by the end of this, as we are not at halfway yet. Will Roberts, unfortunately, has been sitting in pit road for about the past minute or so. And we'll see if we can actually get that reason as to why, as John Wilco is letting all the leaders by off track. So, having a few complications here with the display of what happened and when. But I believe should be able to find it here. So, Will Roberts with a few issues early on, just at the halfway point as well in this race, and we'll see when exactly that did happen. And apparently it was just about the same point that Zachary Buchanan had went off track, although a little bit beforehand. So may have been a bit too much momentum. No, kept it off the wall there. I believe he did go off at another point. And we'll see where that was. Getting told that he crashed actually in pit entry, and yep, there it is. So we'll get that up for you right now. Way too fast on the entry. Oh man, riding the wall as well. Yeah, that's oh. Yeah, that would make sense on why Will Roberts had some heavy left front wing damage. So back live once again. And it is still Mitchell Walker out in front by 11 seconds. And that may be dropping as well. At least for the time being. It's actually fluctuating just a little bit. So almost halfway this time around is Mitchell Walker in first, Danny Roberts second place, Colin Evans third, fourth place Marshall Stanley, 5th place. Jack Andrick, 6th. Evan Adams directly behind him, but 2 laps down. Michael Hurley, as we had probably just heard, spun around there on the hairpin entry, also 2 laps down. Will Roberts is pretty much out of this race, I believe, and John Wilco is 9th, 5 laps down, so John Wilco may have a shot to actually move up to 8th place in the next couple of laps. So only your top 4 are all on the lead lap after pit stops, and the fact that, well, this is a road course and it's a little bit of a new build as well. Twice over, actually. And this time by will be 25 laps complete, 25 laps remaining for the Grand Prix at Sonoma. Remember, next week it is the 150. Gonna hold off on that just for a double check. Is your 150 lap event at Kansas Speedway for the finale for the Fuel Jetstream Media IndyCar Series. Not sure if we have any, not exactly confirmation, but a little bit of an estimation of where points will be after this race. That is next week. We'll be going live at 9 p.m. Eastern Time, a whole 5 minutes. So, what is essentially a little bit of a pre-show. So, we'll go down the field one more time, but this time in its whole entirety for the Fuel Jetstream Media IndyCar Series here so far for tonight's event. As at the moment we have Mitchell Walker in first place. There he goes across the start-finish line. Zachary Buchanan, that's the incorrect one actually. That is for your qualifying times. There we go. So Mitchell Walker still in first, second place. There's Danny Roberts. Should see the time update here in a few moments. Yep, there it goes. Cohen Evans, third place. Fourth place, Marshall Stanley might be put a lap down in the next couple of laps or so. Jack Andrick, 1 lap down. Michael P. Hurley and Evan Adams, 2 laps down each. They are 6th and 7th, respectively. Will Roberts and John Wilco, well, that's going to swap in probably this time around, as it will be John Wilco in 8th, Will Roberts in 9th. And then Chad Frankenfield is also off, unfortunately, 8 laps down, as well as the drivers that are also out. Matt Hollabaugh off 9 laps down, being shown real time actually. So 9 laps down for Chad Frankenfield, 13 laps down for Matt Hollabaugh, 14 laps for Byron Daly, and 25 for Zachary Buchanan. So going back live, if we can get everything to properly organized, there we go. A little bit of an estimation. I was about to ask about that. A little bit estimation on points. I think I did mention that actually, but either way, estimation is that if Mitchell Walker wins the race, it'll put him ahead by 36 points, and it will give Mitchell Walker the championship. So at that point, Mitchell Walker wouldn't even have to show up next week. All he has to do is just, actually, I think he would have to show up. For it to be official, I believe he'd have to show up, possibly complete either at least 1 lap or half the laps. But this is not double points from what I remember. That's, of course, going off the assumption that this race is double points. Oh, okay, yeah. A little bit of miscalculation from the, from Eric Gonzalez. Final round for double points, or double points for the final round, is next week. And just double checking that, yeah, this week is still regular points. So that means Byron Daly may actually still have a little bit of a shot. And now a true rough estimation that I can give, at least a confirmed estimation, is that Mitchell Walker will have 20 points added, as it is the point structure for the top 12 being 20 points for first place, 16 points for second, 14 points for third, pretty much minus 2 points up until position 8. So Byron Daly is basically getting 1 point for this race. I think it's the top 13 actually. I'm just going to count this one more time. Yeah, it's the top 13 drivers actually that get points. But either way, Byron Daly still gets at least 1 point for this race. So Byron Daly would be at 208 points. Mitchell Walker would be at 222 points, not including bonus points. I unfortunately forgot how those bonus points do work out, but I believe it's at least 1 point for qualifying on the pole, and then another point for winning the race, then another point for leading most laps, although I may be incorrect on that one, so hopefully somebody can correct me in the chat for that. As even I double check. Oh, there's another thing for the developers to fix. For some reason, the track surface is dark, but the outer surface is actually bright. So I have no idea how that works unless there's a cloud shaped exactly like the racetrack blocking the sun. So there's a little bit of another minor issue to fix, which honestly I did not know was a thing. So it's kind of the good side for league races, as we're at 20 laps to go. You get to find the small issues that do need some fixing. And it is unfortunately very obvious right there. But I should hopefully be getting a correction of points here in a few moments. In fact, I will ask about that as well, just to make sure. And in fact, actually, next week is not double points, as Mitchell Walker has a little bit of a run-in with the grass. Or dust, I should say. So we'll make sure what the bonus points are, so I don't mess anything up. But at the moment, Mitchell Walker is definitely for sure slated to have 222 points by the end of this race. I'm going to do a quick screenshot here for this little bit of a skybox issue, essentially, a lighting issue, if you will. But Mitchell Walker leads with 19 laps to go. We'll get the graphics back up as well for the overlay in a few moments. As soon as the right portion comes around, I'll get this back up. We may take one more break as well. But at the moment, it is Danny Roberts in second place with 13 seconds separating himself from Mitchell Walker, and at least one more pit stop as well. So it is actually the led most laps, and actually have a confirmed situation on bonus points, or points in general. So bonus points, you get at least one bonus point for leading the most lap, and one bonus point for pole position. And at the moment, it will be Byron with 208 points. And if Mitchell Walker does win this race, Mitchell Walker will have 224 points, and it will be a 16-point gap for Kansas, which means Mitchell Walker would have to Byron Daly would have to finish second place or first place, hoping that Mitchell Walker does not either finish in front of him, lead the most laps, or qualify on the pole. if Mitchell Walker does so much as qualify on the pole, and oh man, I am hurting my brain doing this actually off the top of my head for scenarios, so I will hold off on that one. But assuming Mitchell Walker doesn't show up or he wrecks out or something, Byron Daly may or Mitchell Walker may win this at least by 1 point in the event of Walker qualifying on the pole. If Walker so much as qualifies on the pole, then Byron Daly would have to win the race. I'm thinking that over in my head for a second. I am incorrect. Yeah, no, Byron Daly would actually have to win the race. I was thinking on different points for a second here, but if Byron Daly gets the pole, it would be 15 points. That's what I was thinking for a second. That would be 15 points, a 15-point gap going into the race, as well as leading the most laps. So whoever leads the most laps at the point of halfway, essentially, or over, then you could pretty much give that second bonus point to that person. In this case, Mitchell Walker has led more than half the laps. So if somebody leads more than half the laps, you can immediately pretty much give them that bonus point. And Mitchell Walker has done that so far. So, 16-point gap heading into next week. And if Mitchell Walker finishes... Actually, no, Byron Daly would have to finish in second or higher, assuming Mitchell Walker does not even show up. But of course, that's Mitchell Walker. He, of course, is going to show up. I believe he even said at the beginning of the season that this is basically his style of Jeff Gordon retirement tour. He wants to win with a championship. Thought I heard something. It might have been incorrect, but either way, we'll see what happens here in these next few laps. Because it could still, this win could still go to maybe Danny Roberts, Cohen Evans, or Marshall Stanley. They are second, third, and fourth in that order. Closest gap being between Cohen Evans and Danny Roberts for the second place position on the racetrack. There's Danny Roberts, and there's Cohen Evans. So not too far back. So again, 16-point gap essentially if Mitchell Walker wins this race heading into Kansas next week. So Byron Daly will have to finish, assuming Mitchell Walker doesn't show up or something happens. There would be a 16-point gap. Assuming, actually, I'm even hurting my brain trying to describe this, unfortunately, so apologies for this, but let's see if we can actually talk about points properly here. So, 16 points. We already got that base set down. If Mitchell Walker gets pole next week at Kansas, that makes it a 17-point gap. If Byron Daly gets the pole at Kansas, that makes it a 15-point gap. Either way, Byron Daly will either have to win, lead the most laps, and or finish in first place. So basically win the race. That's the only for sure sign that Byron Daly can win, if he wins the race. Byron Daly qualifies on the pole, that's even better. If he wins the most laps, that drops it down to 14 points in the middle of the race. As we're watching this gap fluctuate between Danny Roberts and Cohen Evans, we'll actually get the comparison up here as well. So it's going to be this race isn't even over yet. The second pit stop has not even happened yet, and already I'm making assumptions on what happens for next week. So that's all we know for the time being. That's all I can say, at least for now. So either way, for sure, Byron Daly will have to win to get the championship next week. That's the only option that Byron Daly can get. It'll be by 2 points as well. Yeah, so here's another scenario, unfortunately. I know what I said, but it's actually quite interesting thinking about these scenarios heading into the championship week as the number 17 of Cohen Evans drops back just a little bit by about 2/10 there. If Mitchell Walker wins this week, assuming he gets the 224 points, he'll have, again, 16 points going into Kansas. If Mitchell Walker gets the pole for next week and leads the most laps at Kansas, he will have an 18-point gap to Byron Daly, which means Byron Daly would have to win the race by 2 points, win the championship as well by 2 points, and that's as close as you're going to get. Maybe by 3 points. Actually, no, never mind. There's only one driver that could actually lead the most laps, and that is over half of the race for one driver. And that half, actually, just going to double check my math here before I say anything, half of 150 is 75. So it's 75 laps or more led by either Mitchell Welker or Byron Daly to get some kind of point in their favor. Now, we're not even over with this race yet because we still have one more pit stop to go and 13 laps left. So we have about 4 or so laps until the next pit cycle hits. So basically about 9 laps to go is when we will get your pit stops, as the lap ticks down to 13 to go this time around. So this is going to be quite interesting to see what exactly happens here for the remainder of this race. So we'll take a break. Not yet, but after the pit cycles come through, that's when we'll take a break and we'll talk more points for sure after the race. Mitchell Welker, I'm not going to say it. I'm going to say it. Commentator's Curse 1-on-1 incoming for sure if this does happen. But Mitchell Welker so far at least has been flawless for tonight. I said it. Now we're all going to wait in anticipation to see if that doesn't happen. So, if that commentator's curse does happen, I am not taking the blame for it. We'll see what happens, though. 12 laps to go this time by from Mitchell Welker. The closest driver behind him is Danny Roberts. Cohen Evans actually closed the gap just a little bit to 0.8 seconds now to Danny Roberts for second. So we'll keep an eye on these two until lap 9 or so, when drivers head to pit road. At the moment, nothing really happening much between these two drivers. But of course, they are driving as much as they can. We'll take an onboard ride around Sonoma with Cohen Evans. Not just yet, but at the start-finish line is when we will start. And in fact, I believe Danny Roberts, here's the thing, Cohen Evans and Mitchell Welker, yep, as they run, Mitchell Welker does have 224 points. And that's, again, as they run for the time being. So, take an on-board look from Cohen Evans and Mitchell Welker, who are both running the same lap. And Cohen Evans kills the Cohen on corner entry. Let's take a ride around Sonoma with Cohen Evans. So that was right around Sonoma as Danny Roberts had decided, you know what, I'm going to pit road. And right now, that means Cohen Evans is finally in second for himself. I'm pretty sure he's relieved, but at the same time, it's Mitchell Walker and Cohen Evans on the same lap, or the same stint, I should say. But it is indeed a 16-point gap with bonus points by the end of tonight if Walker does win. Does he go to pit road this time by? No, he decides to stay out. Cohen Evans, we'll find out what he does in a very long while. He's about 16.7 seconds back from your leader. And yep, there goes Cohen Evans to pit road, and a little bit too quick for my liking, but he does manage to go in. That means it will be Mitchell Walker all on his extreme low goodness, is entirely loans himself on the racetrack, and nothing but clean air for the time of this race had started. Of course, Cohen Evans down and away. 7.3 second pit stop as compared to Danny Roberts' 7.6 second pit stop, and there it shows on the racetrack. 34.5 seconds on pit road for Cohen Evans, 34.6 seconds on pit road for Danny Roberts. There goes Mitchell Walker to pit road. And we'll see how long he takes for his pit stop to occur. He's got 45 seconds or so between himself and Cohen Evans. So a very much relaxed space between himself and the other front two drivers, second and third being Cohen Evans and Danny Roberts. Tires, definitely fuel for Welker. Down and away goes Welker on pit road, 35.6 second pit stop at 8.5 seconds. Will that cost him? Well, at the moment, not at all, really. So it is 8 laps to go. We're coming to 7 laps to go here in about 3/4 of a lap. Two-thirds of a lap, maybe, as someone is off the racetrack, unfortunately. That is Sean Wilco. But we have Mitchell Walker here in first place, Cohen Evans in second, third place Danny Roberts just directly behind him. Marshall Stanley is fourth, the final driver on the lead lap, a ways away from Mitchell Walker, thankfully. Jack Endrick, 2 laps down, is fifth place. Sixth place, Michael Hurley is 3 laps down. John Wilco, 10 laps down in seventh. And 8th place going to be Evan Adams at 14 laps down. Will Roberts, 21 laps down in 9th. Chad Frankenfield, 10 laps, position 10 with 25 laps down. Matt Hollabaugh, 29 laps down in 11th. 30 laps down, Byron Daly, 41 laps down, Zach Buchanan. And add +1 to everybody who's off the racetrack, that being Evan Adams, and 8th, Chad Frankenfield. Well, pretty much everybody from 8th on back, essentially. That includes Will Roberts, as his car is just sitting on pit road. Oh, apologies for that. Trying to adjust the microphone here just a little bit. There we go. So, 7 laps to go this time by. So just watching and listening to the engine of Mitchell Walker as he goes down the S's, or through the S's right here at Sonoma, down the long straightaway, nearly curved straightaway, into the right-hand turn and into the hairpin for 6 more circuits. Michael P. Hurley directly in front of him about to be put 4 laps down here in a few moments. But it is Mitchell Walker currently leading here at Sonoma with 6 laps to go. We'll take one more break. We're going double wide so you don't miss a single thing as usual, as Michael P. Hurley lets him by. Mitchell Walker continues to lead here at Sonoma. Don't go anywhere. So back live once again, just over 2 laps to go. Well, technically 3 laps to go at this point, and it is all Mitchell Walker as we ride on board his machine with 17.2 seconds between himself and Cohen Evans. Danny Roberts trying to attack Cohen Evans for 3rd place. Meanwhile, Cohen Evans trying to stay defensive. That's going to be an interesting battle for 2nd place to see for sure. 2 laps to go this time by. And it has been a long 50 laps, a long 40 8 laps at this point at the start-finish line indeed for the Grand Prix at Sonoma. Right now it is all Mitchell Walker. And, well, we'll take a quick look back at how we got here in the first place. Because it was Zachary Buchanan off over in the second place position. Unfortunately, it just was not the case at the time, and we'll see if we can actually get a replay up once again of the incident from Zachary Buchanan. This is about lap 2 of the race. Unfortunately, the elevation change to that was very, very damaging, almost quite literally to the car. Well, definitely quite literally to the car of Zachary Buchanan. Right now, it's all Mitchell Walker. The white flag about to get thrown here for the number 1 machine. Apparently not. Now, there's the final lap. Apparently, for some reason, it is not being thrown by the flag person. But other than that, it is Mitchell Walker in first place. Second place going to be a bit of an interesting balance. It's probably going to be Cohen Evans at this point, maybe Danny Roberts. We'll see if the flagman hopefully throws the checkered flag here. But it is Mitchell Walker after 49 laps of leading. Comes down to this, and, well, everything that we've been saying about the 224-point gap, a 16-point gap, I should say, heading into Kansas, may be official here in just a few seconds' time, essentially. Right now, there goes Mitchell Walker off the final few corners, down into the hairpin. The final right-hand turn that he has to make for the race itself, checkered flag, for some reason not being thrown, is going to Mitchell Walker at Sonoma for this race. I seriously have no idea why the checkered flag is not being thrown by the flag official. He threw the green, but he didn't throw anything else. Either way, though, it is Mitchell Walker with a race win again, I believe tying at this point Byron Daly for the most race wins of the season. That goes to Mitchell Walker. Second place goes to Cohen Evans. Third place going to Danny Roberts. And it will be 16 points separating Mitchell Walker and Byron Daly. So Walker taking the long road back. I believe we're still waiting for the other drivers to finish up the race, but that looks like the time will be running out. So at this point, everything is, there it is. Everything is pretty much official at this point. Mitch Walker wins by nearly 18 seconds over Cohen Evans. Danny Roberts finishes third. Fourth place, Marshall Stanley. Fifth place, Jack Endrick. Michael Hurley finishes 6th, 7th, John Wilco, 8th, Evan Adams, 9th, Will Roberts, 10th place, Chad Frankenfield, 11th is Matt Hollabaugh, 12th, Byron Daly, and 13th, lucky number 13, is Zachary Buchanan. So as Mitch Walker burns it down in the middle of the hairpin, and once again coming to the start-finish line, we'll see the top 3 drivers hopefully have to say about this race. We'll be right back here on the Racing Line Broadcasting Network. Don't go anywhere, as our top 3 interviews are coming up shortly. We are back live here at Sonoma with your second place finisher, and that is going to be the one and the only, the number 17, Cohen Evans. I'm just going to double check sound settings over on this end. Everything is fine. So, Cohen Evans, go on ahead and pretty much explain your race. 2 pit stops at Sonoma, and really that was pretty much it. Just survival up until the end.
Yeah, it's pretty uneventful. I didn't really have any problems until like halfway through that the second stint. I started catching up to Danny Roberts, and then I I saw him pit a little early, so I thought that was my chance to try and like overcut him or something in the pits, and it ended up working. And then that was the end of my race. Other than that, it was pretty uneventful.
Yeah, Sonoma is a very large track and a long track for this one at least. And yeah, it was kind of uneventful, but it did have a few shares of oh my gosh, what the heck is going on moments. So that definitely being a few laps in this race. So heading into Kansas next week, what are you looking ahead? What are you looking ahead for?
I'm hoping I could finish at least on the podium, the championship points, but I don't know how much that's possible.
I'm gonna double check actually because everyone's talking points right now, and no one's really asking about Cohen. No, I'm kidding. But let's see. Sonoma Raceway. Points are actually official now, and ooh, yeah, you're 100 points off of the points leader, so you're fourth in points at the very least, at the most. So there is that. So you might be able to make it, although the person in front of you is 29 points off of the points leader. So yeah, you were almost there on the bright side. So top 5 isn't too bad.
Yep, not too bad.
So before we go ahead and let you go, anything that you'd like to, or anyone that you'd like to shout out for your second place finish here this week?
Like to say hi to my dad because he's watching, or should be at least.
Let's hope that he is, because, well, of course you got second place. So we're gonna go ahead and let you go. Congratulations again on your second place finish.
Thank you.
So that was Cohen Evans, and finally the one and the only, and of course, you know the I think 6-time winner now. I did the count before the start of this race, but I believe officially now, Mitchell Walker, you're the 6-time winner for this week, as well as the driver that has a 16-point gap heading into Kansas. But forget Kansas. What about your thoughts on this week's race?
Oh, well, it was certainly a must-win from the beginning. Knowing Byron, he's really solid everywhere. And if I had made any kind of mistake or any kind of shortfall, he would have taken advantage. And I went into here knowing that, and I just practiced all week. And I guess, with his incident, it didn't really matter in the end. But yeah, it's just really, really good to go into Kansas having the point gap that I have, and uneventful race. But I'm glad I could take it home.
Yeah, everyone's also been saying it's uneventful, and I can definitely attest to that. It was a little bit uneventful, but at the same time, it did have its fair share of a few exciting laps. But now that we've not forgotten about Kansas, heading into next week, what are you looking ahead for that week?
Well, I'm obviously looking to win the championship. It'll require me finishing sixth or better to clinch on math. There's a bunch of different situations that have been posted in the Discord here, but obviously Optima is the win, but we'll go for whatever.
At 6th or better with no bonus as well for those that are watching. So no bonus points in 6th place or better. And at that point, Byron is mathematically eliminated from having a chance at the championship. So there's a lot of scenarios, and I might actually just go ahead and put them up in the possibly the actual chat just after the race, the comment section down below if anyone's watching this back. So I'll go ahead and do that. But until Kansas next week, anyone that you'd like to give a shout out to for your race win here tonight?
Yeah, shout out to Byron actually, because he was running me on the back for the first part of the race, and it reminded me of last season. You obviously weren't there, but it was a similar situation where we had a road course. We were pretty evenly matched, smaller field, and we were just duking it out the whole time. We never gapped more than a second from each other the whole race. It was at Barber. And this was reminding me of that again. He was just sticking right there on my tail until, he had his crash. But I just hope I can fight him fair and square for the title next week.
Hopefully that is the case. It's going to be very, very interesting for sure. So we're going to go ahead and let you go. Congratulations once again on your race win, and we will see you next week.
Thank you very much. See you then.
This is definitely going to be an interesting season for sure. Interesting finale, I should say, if I could properly speak English for about 5 seconds. So before we sign off, just again, if anyone is watching this back, you'll most likely have seen down below the point standings and the scenarios. I'm not sure if we can do this live right now. Nope, that goes way over the character limit, unfortunately. So we'll read this back to you, actually, and make it easier. So if Mitch Walker finishes 6th or better with no bonus, 7th or better with 1 bonus, or 8th or better with 2 bonus points, then Byron is mathematically eliminated from the championship. And with the Mitch Walker finishing 7th with no bonus, 8th with 1 bonus, or 9th with 2 bonus points, Byron needs to score max points. So basically, Byron needs to win with 22 points, both bonus points and a win. Mitchell Walker with finishing 8th place with no bonus points, 9th place with 1 bonus point, 10th place with 2 bonus points, and Byron needs to win and score a bonus point. Byron would need to win if Mitchell Walker pretty much has no bonus points to. Oh, it's just a lot. So we'll explain that in the comment section down below just after this race is fully published. So we will see you next time. Just again, as a reminder, on the upcoming races for the Racing Line Broadcasting Network. We have the wrong series, unfortunately. There we go. We have the Flat Out Racing League racing in their semifinal race at Phoenix ISM Raceway. Not the 08 configuration. That will be updated promptly. And then next week is the championship finale at Kansas Motor Speedway. So we will go ahead and sign off for this week, and we'd like to congratulate Mitchell Walker once again, Mr. Lightspeed indeed himself, on his race win here this week. Next week is going to be quite interesting, and I'm definitely looking forward to that for sure. So we hope to see you next time on the Racing Line Broadcasting Network. I've been Gary Weaver, and we hope to see you next time. Good night from Sonoma.